The Curses and the Covenants, A History Weaver Mystery, Book 2, by Connie Worden, read by the author. Chapter 2. June 1st, 1897. The Diary of Evangel Penson, soon to be Evangel Adamson, begun on the night before her marriage to Oliver Adamson. I can hardly believe that my name will be Evie Adamson tomorrow. It seems like I've been waiting for this day for an age, but it hasn't been long at all, really. Ollie, or Oliver, or Ol, as I'd better get used to calling him, seeing he has repudiated his childhood pet name, and I have known each other as long as I can remember. But we only courted for 4 months before we agreed to be married, and that was only a month ago. 5 months in total that we've been sweethearts. Although, in another way, we've been sweethearts since Providence only knows. I don't know when I began to think of Ollie. A new name will take some time to get used to, as my best beau. It came on me gradually, as it did for all. Gradually, we moved from old childhood friends, neighbours and schoolmates, and sometimes rivals, to sweethearts, even when we hadn't admitted it to each other. But I knew long before we were courting that someday I would be his wife. And that day is finally almost here. When I pulled the car into the driveway of the little white and green house on Osprey Ave where I'd grown up, Ma was waiting for me in the kitchen, wearing her slippers and the bathrobe she'd had as long as I could remember. I tried buying her a new one for Christmas one year, but she's still saving it for when this one wears out. Apparently, if there are a couple of threads left hanging together, it's not worn out. Ma, it's good to see you, and that crazy robe still hanging in there, I see, I said, giving her a tight hug. No sense trading in comfort, she said. New things are never comfortable like old ones. Well, then that new bathrobe I gave you should be plenty comfortable by now. I think it's at least 5 years old, even if it hasn't left the closet. Nonsense. That bathrobe you gave me is brand new still. I've never worn it. I'm saving it till this one wears out. And it wasn't 5 years ago. It was last Christmas. I knew better than to argue. Never mind my old bathrobe. You always have to comment on the bathrobe. Why don't you tell me about the drive here? Then we made the usual small talk about how treacherous the weather can be in early spring, and how I've never known the proper speed for driving on slick roads over mountain passes. It was good to be home. Yes, it was the same neon pink bedspread, but that was no surprise. I'd seen it at least once a year at Christmas since I'd left. The posters had come down, though. I'd forgotten they weren't there anymore. I was seeing the room through new eyes now that I was thinking of semi-permanently moving back. To Beaver Row, at any rate, if not to this very room. The things I hadn't bothered to notice about my old home and my old hometown were all new again. I fell into bed and slept like the dead, heedless of the eye-offending pink leopard print until 10 the next morning. When I finally rolled out and stumbled downstairs, Ma was nowhere to be seen, but she'd left a note saying she'd gone to buy a few groceries and that she supposed I knew where the cold cereal was, but she was out of milk, so there was always toast. She came back in from shopping at the mini-mart a few blocks away when I was halfway finished my peanut butter and toast. I'd thrown a couple of suitcases in the back of the car but hadn't burnt any bridges back in the city yet. If I found a place to rent, then I'd be hiring movers and hauling all my things out of the apartment. But places to rent in Beaver Row are like the proverbial needle in the haystack. Still, I planned to assert my independence and hit the streets of Beaver Row to make the attempt anyway. Before Ma and I had quite finished with all the pros and cons of me looking for a rental, she provided the cons, I provided the pros, the phone rang. Just a minute, she's right here, she'll be thrilled, I heard Ma say into the receiver. I couldn't think of anyone that I'd be exactly thrilled to hear from. I took the phone with a little trepidation. Hey, Ange, it's Sarah. Oh, hey, Sarah. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Good to hear from you. Whether or not it was, one had to say these things. It has been a long time. Sorry, my fault. I should really call when I come to town. I'm never here for very long, the problem is. And to tell you the truth, I kind of lost track of you. I wasn't sure you were still in town. I guess it's been a few years, hasn't it, since I talked to you last? Your mom doesn't tell you about me? Keep you informed about what I'm up to? I fumbled for a reply. No, my mother didn't keep me up to date on the events or whereabouts of my cousin. The truth was, I never bothered to ask. And my visits to Beaver Row were generally so short, I didn't make any effort to look up anyone from my past life when I was in town. I said, but happily Sarah kept on going without waiting for an answer. Well, I'm not in Beaver Row anymore. Close, still in the area. I live in Cherryton now. Oh, Cherryton. Okay, good. That's not far. Cherryton was the next town of any size, about an hour's drive from Beaver Row. It was 4 or 5 times the size of Beaver Row, but still not exactly the big city. Yeah, I moved to Cherryton for work, and so I could still be close to the parents. I do work in Beaver Row quite often still, though. Cases often come up there that I cover. Cases? Are you a lawyer? No, a social worker. I've been doing that for the past 4 years. Seriously, Aunt, has it been that long? Does your mom not tell you anything about me and my life? I know you're not on any of my social medias, but do you not even see my parents when you're in town? Sarah sounded hurt. My mom probably told me. You know me, I'm scatterbrained and Ma talks a lot. The information was probably tucked away in the middle of a run-on sentence I'd already blanked on. And no, I don't usually see your parents when I'm at home at Christmas because remember, those globetrotters always like to get away for the winter. So, no, I probably haven't seen them in 4 or 5 years either. I'm sorry we lost touch, Sarah. I'm horrible. I'm just so bad at the long-distance thing. And I'm not on social media at all, except for what I need to promote my writing. I found my mental health was better without social media, so I mostly dropped it. It was the same lame excuse I always offered to everyone from my hometown when I was back and bumped into anyone I knew, on the occasions when I unavoidably had to leave the house. I guess there would have to be a lot more of those now. Your mom told me you were moving back to Beaver Row. She's so excited. In her own way. She didn't seem too clear on the reason for the move, though. So what brings you back our way? I wouldn't say move, just checking out some options, I said evasively. Hey, listen, are you free for lunch? It'd be good to catch up. It's been too long. I was getting desperate to get off the phone. Sure, I'm in Beaver Row at the moment, and I'm always free for lunch. At least today I am. It'd be great to see you, so where would you like to go? You mean besides the obvious? What do you mean, Peggy's? Well, there's also the bakery. Their specials are always good. There's the Chinese place, but they don't do lunches. The Italian place is too hefty a lunch for me. Blue Jays does soup and sandwiches now besides coffee. And then there's that new place just opened up a month ago. No, I'm in the mood for Peggy's spicy fries and gravy. Sounds good. Peggy's it is, except it's not Peggy's anymore. Peggy sold out? She retired. Even in Beaver Row, things occasionally change. I winced at the slightly defensive tone that had crept into Sarah's voice. Was I going to be viewed now as an outsider, a city dweller, as one who thought of myself as a superior being for having lived for a few years away from Beaver Row? Worse still, did I see myself that way? What's Peggy's called now? I asked quickly. Creekside Cafe. Everyone still calls it Peggy's, though. And they still do spicy fries and gravy? Just the same. Not that much about it has changed. Just the name, really. Peggy's daughter runs the place. Sounds good, then. Is right at noon okay, or what time? We set the time and hung up. Ma was pleased to hear I was getting together with my cousin, and I quietly dropped the subject, though not the idea, of house hunting. I escaped the house to go for a walk, claiming the need of some exercise after my long drive of the day before. At the corner store nearest Ma's house, I bought the latest copy, almost a week old, of the Beaver Row Bugle and looked up for rent ads. I'd checked online and come up dry, but it was Beaver Row. We were old school. A property owner was more likely to put an ad in the paper than advertise online. The Bugle boasted 2, a mobile home and a trailer park and a 3-bedroom bungalow with old-world charm on Mallard Avenue. If I took the mobile home, I'd be living right smack in the middle of Seniorville. I knew the trailer park. The old-world charm of the bungalow didn't sound promising. It sounded like it might have been built around the same time as Noah's Ark. But it was on Mallard Avenue, and Mallard was a nice section of the village. All the houses were old but well-kept and beautiful, surrounded by large lawns and tall, shady trees. 3 bedrooms were far too many for me, and the price would no doubt be out of my range, but it was worth a look at least. I dialed the number in the paper and arranged to meet the managing real estate agent at 1 o'clock for a look at the place. If lunch with Sarah went as well as our phone conversation had, it would be nice to have an appointment afterwards to keep the lunch short.